A Jmix exclusive.
Shut the fuck up and pay attention.
Hello everybody, this is Jmix here with TupacNation.net, and this week I'm dropping something special. Earlier this year I had the opportunity to speak with Machiavelli producer and former Death Row manager, Kurt Kobane. This interview is very dear to me. It is one of the most in-depth interviews I've ever done on the topic. This is a real, no-holds-barred insider view of Death Row Records in 1996. Many questions will be answered, and I'd like to thank everyone for your views and support. And without further ado, here is part one in a series of interviews with Kurt Kobane. Can you tell us the story of how you came to be on Death Row Records?
Okay, I came out to California as a keyboard player for another artist that was like a local artist out of Wisconsin, but I'm originally from Illinois, Carbondale, Illinois. But that artist didn't make it out there, and the people who brought him out there, they found out that I can produce, so they had me going around to all the labels trying to get me a production deal. During the course of that, they got indicted, which left me out in California by myself, and I had one more meeting to go to. Didn't have any money left. I went to this meeting. It was with Warner Brothers, where they sat and listened to, typical, listen to your demo, tell you the typical A&R stuff. They didn't really hear nothing or didn't really say too much positive stuff about it, but played a lot of material that they was working on. I left that meeting trying to figure out what I was going to do, so I went to Lakewood Mall, which, while I was there, I ran into Suge and his entourage. I guess it was the funeral for his friend that got killed was that day, Jake. So they were all at the mall they were all in suits. So I guess they were going to buy some clothes, regular clothes. So I happened to have the demo tape on me, walked up to him. My actual words to him were, I can get with your boy Dre. And I just gave him the demo and walked away, thinking nothing of it, like, okay, that was just a long shot, but fuck it. It's done. About 15, 20 minutes later, one of the dudes that was with you came up to me and was like, man, he listened to your tape, man. He wanna holler at you real quick. So I went up to him. He asked me a couple of questions, like where was I from, what was I doing out there. Then he told me to come to the studio that night, which was Can-Am. So that got me in the door at Can-Am. And the night that I was there, they had a big production meeting with all the producers, Quick, Daz, Dre, Demetrius, Ship, I don't know if you know him, we call him Meech, a few other people, Superfly. And Suge used me as an example in that meeting of being hungry, because I guess he felt like they weren't hungry no more because they had a little success. And after the meeting, he walked up to me and was like, you want to be down? And I was like, yeah. He's like, okay, this is what you need to do. Go up to the office, get your paperwork right, pick up a check, and put you up in a hotel. From that day on, I was down with the company.
Can you tell us fans a little bit about the Whack Room? Okay,
the day that actually started going to the studio, which is Can-Am, there was a room that you would, it was kind of like a storage room where they put, like, broken equipment. Every studio has one of these rooms where they just got, like, throwaway equipment and stuff like that. That room would be today the equivalent of a pre-production room. Only thing it had in there was a drum machine, a keyboard, and a little mixer. In that room, Herb and Bad was working in that room, is Tyrone, and another guy, D. Harper, the two guys that were behind the Machiavelli album. They were working out of that room. Tyrone was dope. Tyrone was incredible from the jump. Harper, we call him Daryl Harper, he was an R&B dude that kind of lost his place at the label. Because, he's like real old school R&B dude. So in order to stay around and keep up, he had to learn how to do hip-hop. His hip-hop wasn't that good yet. So his sound coming out of that room was not the best. Actually, the room itself was whack. It was just a whack room. There wasn't nothing in it. It wasn't that the people in there were whack. It was the room. Now, I had a meeting with Suge about the room and about upgrading and getting a lot of equipment in there. So he told me what kind of equipment I told him what kind of equipment I needed. He said, okay, good. Write it up, put together a list, and I'm gonna have the studio manager buy everything that y'all need. And he said, matter of fact, we're gonna call that room. Nobody knows this part. We're gonna call that room the money room, because this is where the new money for Death Row is gonna come from. And he said, we're gonna get a green carpet put in the room with a dollar emblem, a big dollar sign in the middle of the room. So this was gonna be the new room where all the money was coming from. It might have been a little jealousy created coming out of that little situation right there, because all of a sudden this room was fully equipped with a whole bunch of new guys working in it that wasn't a part of the different cliques that were inside the studio. So the whole whack room thing, it got taken out of proportion in that double XL thing, that it was just whack people in the room and whack music coming out of the room. It was a bigger picture than that. That's where the Machiavelli album was made. That's where the sound was developed. See, the sound coming out of that room, I was from Chicago area, you know Carbondale is, but we're connected to Chicago mentally for some reason. So me coming from the Midwest, Herdenbach was from the Midwest. D.D. Harper, he was from Illinois, but Danny Boy worked out of that room a lot. Did a lot of his pre-production in that room. So it was like that room was full of Chicago area people or Midwest area people. So we were developing a new sound. That's also why I should call it the new money room, because we were trying to develop a new sound. We wasn't trying to be the Dog Pound. We wasn't trying to be the sound that Dre had with his camper producers. We were working on something new, because we were a big label. We were like Motown. It's like a factory.
Herdenbad had spoke to me briefly on Snoop being jealous on not being the main headliner once Pac came on board Death Row. Did you ever experience that firsthand?
You know what? I never experienced no jealousy amongst Snoop being, jealous toward Pac. He would have to further elaborate on why he felt that way, because maybe he seen something that I didn't see or heard something that I didn't hear about, but I didn't see it that way. Because, they were like brothers. Snoop and Pac were like brothers.
Did you ever witness any of the rumored punishments carried out on Death Row employees?
All the time. And I would have to say this. None of it wasn't like, if it happened to somebody, it's because they were doing something. It was their fault. Either you say you're a producer and you come in and you're bragging on your skills and, or you done stole somebody else's material and you're bringing it in, something's going to happen to you, If you were, say, a celebrity, big celebrity name comes through the studio, and you were just hanging around like a groupie, something's going to happen to you. It was more like that. It wasn't just everybody getting picked on, everybody getting beat up for some crazy reason, that just was unwarranted.
The first instrumental you got through to Tupac was the track M.O.B. Can you share with us how that got to Tupac and how you first met him?
Okay, I would have to credit Herdenbach actually making that situation happen, because, like I said, when I got there were a lot of things that I had a little bit more experience in the music business, or understand the music business, than everybody else around. Herdenbach, they was working out of that room, but they really wasn't shopping their material with anybody in the studio. They were like still developing it, but they wasn't giving it to Snoop or whoever. So when I got there, I'm like, okay, Pac's in the back room. They were like, yeah. So I'm like, okay, why aren't y'all giving them the material, y'all material? Nobody had an answer, so I was like, okay, cool. I sat down. I made like 2 beats. And I was like, 2 beats, let me sweeten up the pot. Let me make a third beat. The third beat was the M.O.B. beat, so I just made that real quick, and it was real natural because me being from the Midwest, this was a sound I like. I like the Tupac Death Around the Corner. You know that song?
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
From Me Against the World album. Like, that's one of my favorite Tupac songs. I just like how he wrote that beat. So I made a beat similar to that beat, drum pattern-wise. And that was the third beat. I actually thought he was going to pick the first beat I made, which was more Death Row West Coast kind of beat, you understand? So I just said, fuck it, I'm going back there. No, I tried to go by procedure. I gave it to the studio manager to give Tupac. And like a week went by, didn't hear anything. I thought he didn't like none of the music. Heard him back, came to me and said, man, you know that tape that you gave that guy didn't take it back to Pac. He said it was garbage. He said it sounded like a bunch of toys. He said it pretty much was like that was whack music. I'm not even going to give this to Pac. So I was like, wow.
Do you feel it was because you were a new producer and there may have been some jealousy there?
Yeah, it was definitely jealousy because he wanted to be a producer, but he wasn't good enough. So in order to stay around, Suge made him the manager of the studio. So his job was to exactly that, manage the studio, set up studio time for everybody, make sure everybody is catered to. Like, if you're a producer, what do you need? That was his job, and he hated that. So here I am, this new dude just come in. I'm instantly going at the biggest star on the label with music, which was, like I said, nobody else was doing this. So Kurtenbach told me where the tape was. I went and got the tape, walked it back there myself. Pac looked at me. I gave him. I said, man, here goes some beats on here. And he was real humble. Like, that's one thing I noticed about him. Like, he was real humble. He was like, oh, man, thanks. Thanks a lot, man. Thanks. And I was like, oh, no problem. That's what I'm supposed to do. And I walked out the room. And actually, I left the studio. I went to go get something to eat. Maybe an hour later, I come back to the studio. Everybody in the studio is looking at me different. Like, people are quiet. I see people whispering. I don't know what the hell is going on. Kurtenbach comes up to me and he's like, man, Pac's looking for you. I'm like, wow, okay, what the hell is Pac looking for me for? You know what I mean? Then I heard, like, he picked the beat. Well, I actually didn't know which beat it was. He had left the studio that night by the time I got back. The next night, I come in the studio. He's sitting on the couch with, like, these, like, 3 girls on him. And he just laid back chilling. He's like, man, what's up? You the one did that beat, right? I was like, yeah, you remember? He's like, yeah, man, what's up with that beat? I'm like, what beat you talking about? He's like, the gangster beat. And I'm like, what gangster? Which one? And it was all gangster to me. And he's like, the third one. I'm like, what, the third one? I was like, you like that one? He's like, yeah, what's up with that beat? I was like, okay, give me till Monday. I'll get it back. I'll get it to you. Because I wanted to, like I said, I just threw that shit together in like 15 minutes. So I wanted to, like, beef it up and fully produce it and get it to exactly the way I wanted it. But I didn't understand the way he works. Like, if he wants that beat, he wants that beat now. So I told him, like, okay, well, fuck it. Like, because he gave me this look when I said Monday. Like, oh, motherfucker, fuck you on that beat. So I was like, no, let me get this shit together. And I said, like, give me like 15 minutes. So he had the session already set up because he was working with, I think his name is Mike Mosley, the producer who did I'd Rather Be Your N. What was that song?
That's I'd Rather Be Your Nigga.
Yeah, he had just recorded that because Richie Rich was in the studio. So when I went in there, Mike Mosley was in there, Richie Rich was in there, you know, the Outlaws was in there, and Pac was ready to do an M.O.B., which he didn't even have a title for it yet. I mean, he didn't even have a song. And the crazy story behind that was the keyboard that I was using wasn't capable of syncing up to the tape machines to track the beat out. So we was like 35, 40 minutes trying to figure out how to fucking get this damn song on tape. And Pac was sitting there smoking a blunt, like, just giving me this evil look, like, if you don't have this shit done in 25 minutes, or like 25 seconds, you know what I mean? So then the engineer came to me and was like, look, we're just going to 2-track this motherfucker and let him do what he need to do, and then we're going to come back and work on the beat. And I'm like, cool. That dude was Rick Clifford, which me and him developed a friendship, and we still cool to this day. He's the one that mixed All Eyes on Me. But we loaded up the beat, man, and Pac sat there, said this was going to be called M.O.B, and wrote out his fucking verse, went in there and did it, and was like, looking at the Outlaw like, y'all motherfuckers ain't ready yet. But what's the one? Fatal went there and did his verse, and the rest of them followed suit. Mo Preem was on there at the end, and that's how that studio session went. Now, also, what people don't know is that was supposed to be on the album, All Eyes on Me. There's 14 songs on the first set, and there was supposed to be 14 songs on the second set, which was going to be like book 1, book 2. 14 songs on book 1, 14 songs on book 2. If you look at the album, there's 14 songs on one, 13 songs on another, on the next one. M.O.B. is the missing song off of All Eyes on Me, because that studio manager like completely screwed me on the mixtape and didn't let me know that they were mixing the album. I kept coming to him like, okay, when y'all gonna be mixing the album? What's up with this? And he was like throwing me off to the point where when it was time, it was too late. And then the reel disappeared. I forgot about it. The fucking reel had disappeared. They couldn't find it. I remember Johnny J was asking me, like, where the hell is this reel at? So they had to go without M.O.B. on the album, and they never replaced it with another song.
I'd like to thank everybody for viewing the video. I'm going to be dropping the next one here in just a couple days. Stay tuned to TupacNation.net and stay tuned for Kurt Kobane Part 2.